"Daddy, look, she's crying all alone." The little voice came from the back seat, soft yet sharp enough to pierce through the hum of the car's engine. David glanced at the rearview mirror, catching his daughter Emily's worried eyes. Following her gaze, he saw a young woman sitting on the cold park bench, her face buried in her hands. Her shoulders shook with each silent sob, her thin jacket no match for the evening chill. He tightened his grip on the steering wheel. They were already late for dinner at his parents' house. Stopping wasn't part of the plan. Yet Emily's words echoed in his mind. "Daddy, please," she whispered, her small hand pressing against his shoulder. David's heart tugged. He had always told Emily to be kind, to notice those who were hurting. Now, his daughter was holding him to his own words. He sighed, pulling the car over. As he stepped out, the crisp air hit his face. Approaching the bench slowly, he cleared his throat. "Excuse me," he said gently. "Are you okay?" The woman looked up, startled. Her eyes were swollen, her cheeks streaked with tears. For a moment, she said nothing. Then, in a broken voice, she whispered, "No, but no one ever asks." David felt a lump rise in his throat. His daughter's innocent concern had led him here, but something told him this moment was about to change more than just his evening plans. David hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to say. But Emily, unable to stay in the car, slipped out and ran over. The little girl climbed onto the bench beside the stranger, her tiny hand resting on the woman's arm. "Don't cry," Emily said softly. "My daddy can help." The woman let out a shaky laugh between tears. "Your daddy? He looks like he has his hands full already." David managed a small smile. "She's right, though. Sometimes a stranger can help more than you'd expect." The woman finally spoke, her words tumbling out as if they had been waiting for someone, anyone, to listen. She had recently lost her job, fallen behind on rent, and had no family nearby. That evening, she had reached her breaking point, convinced no one cared. David listened carefully, nodding, his heart heavy. He knew what it felt like to lose hope. Years ago, after Emily's mother passed away, he too had felt swallowed by grief. Back then, a kind neighbor's simple act of sitting with him had reminded him he wasn't alone. "You don't know me," David said gently, "but I do know pain. And I also know it never lasts forever." Emily leaned closer to the woman, her voice filled with innocent certainty. "Daddy says good days always come back. Maybe you just need someone to sit with you until they do." The woman covered her mouth, tears spilling faster now, not from despair, but from the strange comfort of being seen. David realized this wasn't just about stopping for a stranger. It was about showing his daughter what it truly meant to live the lessons he preached. And so, he sat down beside her. The three of them sat together in silence for a while, the night breeze rustling through the trees. Emily swung her legs from the bench, humming softly, while David kept his eyes on the woman, waiting for her to gather strength to speak again. Finally, she whispered, "You should go. I don't want to ruin your evening." David shook his head. "You're not ruining anything. My daughter was right, we couldn't just drive past." Emily tugged at her father's sleeve. "Daddy, maybe she can come eat with us. Grandma made too much food, remember?" The woman blinked, startled. "Oh, no. I couldn't. I don't want to be a burden." David's voice was steady but kind. "It's not a burden. It's an invitation. No one should sit alone on a night like this." Her eyes brimmed again, but this time with disbelief rather than sorrow. Why would you do that for me? You don't even know my name." "Then let's fix that," David said, extending his hand. "I'm David. This is Emily." She hesitated before shaking his hand. "I'm Claire." Emily beamed. "Hi, Miss Claire. Now you have to come. Grandma makes the best apple pie." Claire laughed weakly, a sound she hadn't heard from herself in weeks. For the first time in a long while, she didn't feel invisible. David stood. "Come with us. Even if it's just one meal, you shouldn't face this night alone." Claire looked at Emily's bright smile, then at David's steady gaze. Something inside her softened. For years, she had carried the weight of believing people only looked away. But now, a child's words, and her father's kindness, were pulling her back into the light. Slowly, she nodded. The drive to David's parents' house was quiet at first. Claire sat nervously in the passenger seat, hands clasped tight in her lap, unsure if she had made a mistake by agreeing. But Emily's cheerful chatter filled the silence. She told stories about school, her favorite cartoons, and even how she once tried to bake cookies but forgot the sugar. Each giggle from Emily chipped away at the heaviness in Claire's chest. When they arrived, David's mother opened the door with her usual warmth. "Oh, you brought a guest. Wonderful, there's always room for one more." Without hesitation, she wrapped Claire in a gentle hug, as though she were already part of the family. At the dinner table, conversation flowed easily. Claire found herself laughing at Emily's jokes, savoring the food, and for the first time in weeks, eating without the taste of loneliness. Halfway through the meal, David's father asked kindly, "So, Claire, what brings you to town?" The question caught her off guard. Shame tugged at her, but she decided to be honest. She told them about losing her job, struggling with bills, and the loneliness that had swallowed her. She expected pity or polite discomfort, but instead, she saw compassion. David's mother reached across the table, squeezing Claire's hand. "Everyone falls on hard times, dear. What matters is that you don't give up." Emily grinned, her mouth full of pie. "See? I told you good days come back." Laughter rippled around the table, but for Claire, it wasn't just laughter, it was healing. For the first time in a long time, she felt like she belonged somewhere. As the night wore on, she realized that sometimes family wasn't about blood. Sometimes it was about kindness, and having someone see you when the world looks away. After dinner, everyone lingered in the living room, sipping tea while Emily proudly showed Claire her favorite picture books. David watched quietly, realizing how naturally Claire blended into the warmth of the evening. When it was time to leave, Claire stood by the door, her eyes glistening. "I don't know how to thank you. Tonight. I was ready to give up. I thought no one cared. And then your daughter noticed me." She glanced at Emily, her smile trembling. "Your kindness saved me." David felt a lump in his throat. Sometimes we all just need someone to stop and see us. I'm glad Emily reminded me of that. On the way back, David handed Claire a small slip of paper. "This is the number of a friend who manages a community center. They can help with housing support and maybe even a job. You don't have to go through this alone." Claire clutched the paper as though it were a lifeline. "Thank you. Truly." Emily leaned over the seat, hugging her. "Don't be sad anymore. You're our friend now." Tears streamed down Claire's cheeks, but this time they were tears of hope. She looked at David and whispered, "Your daughter has the biggest heart." David smiled, realizing that Emily had taught him something too, that compassion doesn't wait for the perfect moment, it acts the second it's needed. As they drove Claire home, the city lights shimmered outside the window. A night that had begun in despair was ending with a spark of possibility. And deep in his heart, David knew one simple truth: sometimes the smallest voices, like a child's, are the ones that change lives forever.